Hi everyone, welcome to our second video lesson of Chapter 5. We're simplifying polynomials in this lesson. So poly meaning many, nomials meaning terms. So we're dealing with many terms and we're simplifying them. So we're not solving, we're not isolating a variable or anything like that. We're using adding, subtracting, multiplying, combining like terms to simplify these polynomials. So our first one here is written in function notation. Find f of x plus g of x. So these two functions, I'm going to add them together. So f of x plus g of x is this. Here is f of x, and I'm going to add it to my function g of x. So I have x squared minus an x minus 2 plus g of x, and g of x is x minus 3. Now all it is it's combining like terms. So we're not solving for anything, we're just simplifying. So f of x plus g of x is this. X squared. Here we have a minus x plus an x makes 0 x's. Those cancel out. And then a negative 2 and a negative 3 make a negative 5. So our answer here is x squared minus 5. And we are all done. All we're doing is simplifying. For problem number 2, this time we're subtracting. The important thing to remember when subtracting is you have to distribute that negative. So we have like a negative 1 times that whole thing. So distribute that amongst all of your terms. So we have 3x squared minus 2x plus 3. Now it's going to be subtract an x squared, subtract 4x, and add 2, distributing that negative sign. Now we're going to combine like terms. 3x squared minus 1x squared is 2x squared. That takes care of this and this. A negative 2x minus 4x is a negative 6x. That takes care of this and this. And then 3 plus 2 is 5. So an important thing to remember in this one is that x squareds can only be combined with other x squareds. X's can be combined with only other x's. And then our constant terms, which is just the numbers all by themselves, those only can be combined with other constants. So combining like terms means you're getting the like terms together. Problem number 4, we're going to use the distributive property again. This time it's not with a negative 1, but it's with a term, 2x cubed. So distribute, distribute, distribute. So we have 14x to the, when you multiply with common bases, you add their exponents. So 14x to the 5th minus 6x to the 4th plus 10x cubed. 14x to the 5th minus 6x to the 4th plus 10x cubed. We're going to have to remember a lot of our properties from variables and exponents that we learned yesterday. This one, I'm sure you guys have seen this one 1,000 times now. When you have a binomial and you multiply it by another binomial, you use this method, FOIL, where F stands for first, O stands for the outside terms, I stands for the inside terms, and L stands for the last terms. So you're going to multiply the first times the first. 3x times 5x is 15x squared. Then you're going to multiply the outside terms. So 3x is on the outside and 4 is on the outside to get 12x. Then you're going to multiply the inside. 2 times 5 is 10x. And then you're going to multiply the last 2 times 4, which is 8. Once you get to this point, make sure you always combine like terms. And these two in the middle can be combined. So we get 15x squared plus 22x plus 8. So whenever you have a binomial times a binomial, your strategy is going to be foiling. Next one. This time we have a trinomial times a binomial. It's similar to foiling, but there's going to be one more step. It's kind of like foiling on steroids, if you want to think of it that way. It's another step. So this x squared has to be multiplied by this. This 6x has to be multiplied by this. And this negative 2 has to be multiplied by this. Every term in the trinomial has to be multiplied by every term in the binomial. So here's what we got. X squared multiplied by my binomial of x plus 4. 6x multiplied by x plus 4. And a negative 2 times x plus 4. So now we're going to distribute each term to the binomial, and then at the end we're going to clean things up by combining like terms. There is our strategy. So here we go. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 4 is 4x squared. Plus 6x times x is 6x squared. 6x times 4 is 24x. Distributing the negative 2, we get a negative 2x, subtract 8. Okay, combine like terms. We only have this 1x cubed over there. How many x squareds do we got? We have 4x squared and 6x squared to make 10x squared. Took care of those. We have 22x's when we take 24 minus 2. And then we have our constant term of a negative 8 there at the end. Our answer, x cubed plus 10x squared plus 22x minus 8. Okay, let's jump one more level of difficulty here. Now we're going to have two different multiplying operations happening here. We have a binomial times a binomial, which we're going to FOIL. And then we have a negative 3x times a binomial, in which case we're going to distribute. Make sure, class, that you distribute this negative sign. That's where a lot of people mess up on their assignment, is they don't distribute that negative sign, and it really makes their answers incorrect. And it's too bad because it's just this little small mistake, but you got to be very careful about it. So we're going to FOIL. We get x squared minus 5x minus 2x plus 10. And then we're going to distribute this negative 3x, so we have a negative 3x squared and a negative 18x. Now we'll combine like terms. 1x squared minus 3x squared is a negative 2x squared. A negative 5x minus 2x is a negative 7x, and a negative 7x minus 18x is a negative 25x's. And then we have our constant term of plus 10. So our answer for this one is a negative 2x squared minus 25x plus 10. Okay, let's add one more notch of difficulty level. This time we have our binomial at the end. So we're going to FOIL again. We're going to distribute this term. And then at the end, class, I'm going to tell you we got to be very careful about this negative sign. We're going to distribute this at the very end. So after we've already FOILed this second part. Okay? So watch me very closely as we do this. We're going to distribute the 8x. So we're going to get 8x squared plus 8x. Subtract. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to FOIL. And then at the end, we're going to subtract the trinomial that it makes. So a binomial times a binomial. Here we have x times x is x squared. X times 6 and x times 3. We're going to combine those. So we get 6x plus 3x is 9x. And then 3 times 6 is 18. So I FOILed that and I got that trinomial. Now I'm going to distribute this negative sign. This negative 1 that is outside my parentheses. So basically I'm changing the sign on every term in the trinomial. 8x squared plus 8x minus an x squared minus 9x minus 18. So that's the trick on that one. Got to be very careful that you follow all those rules with those negative signs. So 8x squared minus 1x squared is 7x squared. 8x minus 9x is a negative x. And then we have our subtract 18 at the end. So there is the last problem, 7x squared minus x minus 18. Big part in this one, make sure that when you combine like terms, when you're adding and subtracting, that you make sure that you combine the like terms, so x cubes only combine with other x cubes, x to the fifths only with other x to the fifths, so on and so forth. And then with multiplying, we got to be careful that we remember how to FOIL, we remember how to multiply a binomial times a trinomial, and we got to make sure that we're very careful with our negative signs. So if you have any questions about those things, please let me know when you get to class tomorrow.